this, he's right there. Hopefully we get a bite. Right by, oh my God, right beside the boat. Look at that, it's right at the back of the boat. Yeah, we're in. Okay guys, so this week of Journey with Fisherman, it's all about catching two of my favourite baits. So what we've done is we've prepared a brine mixture with salty ice, a bit of salt water, about a cup of salt and some baking soda. Here we go, it's a nice one. The good old piper. And so what this mixture does is it makes it a lot tougher and brings out all, or keeps a natural colour as they would come when they first come out of the water. It's one really, really appealing to a billfish. There we go. Let's get another one. There we go, we're hooked up. Come to Papa. And we're using a de-hooker here, so we don't have to touch the skin at all and just keeps them in the best possible condition. We've just got the burley trail going here, and now we've got our second bait in here that we really want to get. We've just got our little Hayabusa sabiki rig there, just behind the burley trail, trying to snag one of these guys. There we go, look at that. That's the yellow-eye mullet. One of my favourite baits. Mullet. Let's get into the ice slurry mix here, but you see it's a little bit more wide-bodied and very streamlined as well, so they make a really good swimming or pitch bait. Alrighty, we're in business now. Whew. Oh yep, that's the one. That is a stunning bait. And there we go. That should just about do us there. That's a good selection of yellow-eye mullet and piper. We're going to leave those on ice for the night and rig them up tomorrow morning. Perfect. Hey guys, we've had our baits on ice overnight for about 10 hours. As you can see here, we've got our yellow-eye mullet and our piper. But first things first, let's talk about all the equipment that we're going to use for this process. We've got our little chugger baits here. I love chugger baits. Gives it a nice bit of action. It pops, especially with a slender bait like the piper. And we've got a little tube in here which separates the circle hook from the bait, so you can get a nice hook set. Rigging needles. We've got our rigging floss. Pair of cutters here. So use that pretty much for cutting off the pec fins and the beaks on the piper. Knife. We've got a little tube here that we use for pushing the eyes out or deboning if we need to. Pair of scissors here for cutting the floss. Last of all, we'll go over this later on, that's my circle hook rig and how we actually tie it on. So, right, let's get into it. First bait we're going to rig is the piper. Right, now we've got our piper. The first thing we want to do with it is we're going to prepare it, get it ready for rigging. There's three things I do. First of all, I'm going to put a little nick in its butt so I can get all the air and all the gut out of it. And the good thing, we've salted these up last night, so they're actually nice and tough. So you can sort of squeeze them a little bit more than you normally would if they weren't salted. Second thing we do is we're going to cut off the beak. And third thing is we're going to cut off all the little pec fins off that bait, so we know they're not going to be hanging out and making it swim a little bit lopsided or not so natural. And the last thing we're going to do is we're going to take the eyes out. I just use a needle on the piper. They've got smaller eyes, and that's also trying to get rid of any air cavities in the bait. Really important. Air cavities basically make it float. There we go. Now that bait is pretty much all ready to go. Now we've got our rigging floss. Usually about 600 or 700 millimeters. Right. Just behind the back of the pec fin. Put one in over, and then we're going to go back through the gill plate. It's a nice strong area of the fish, but it also helps keep the gill plate closed. One side, go for a zigzag sort of formation on it, keeps it nice and tidy looking but also very strong. And we go back through pretty much the same holes that we come out on the other side. Okay, so we've got that, and we're going to go an overhand knot here, pull that down, and you can see here it pulls up all the gill plate, so it's nice and tight. Back through the eye socket, alternate, so they're going opposite ways. In this case, we're going to tie this off at the bottom here, again with another overhand knot. And it also helps keep that gill plate nice and closed. And that is pretty much it. We've got that nice formation there, nice and strong. It's all tied up around the strong part of the bottom of there. Now to get on the chugger head, all we're going to do is put those 2 pieces of floss into our needle again. And we're going to use our little chugger head here. Nice slimline profile, little chugger head there. It's going to swim really well. What we can do, right, just to hold that for now, we can do 1 overhand knot down into the tube, and we have a bait all ready to be rigged up there. To attach that to our circle hook rig, is basically we're just going to put the line through it and do a series of overhand knots to get that in the right position, and yeah, you're off you go. Right, so here we go, the yellow eye mullet. Beautiful bait, quite slender, and it's got actually a smaller head than the bigger grey mullet. Same as what we did for the piper. We put a little nick in its butt area there. You can really see how it's a lot tougher now with the brining. And we're just going to squeeze all that gut cavity out of there. If you've got a bit of a weak stomach, probably not the best time to be looking, but anyway, that's the gut cavity out of there. You can see all the ears come out. These are great baits. I mean, they're so firm and so strong. They can withstand a few hits. Right, so we've got the gut cavity clear. Second thing we're going to do now, we're going to also cut off the pec fins, our cutters. Go, and we're going to take the eyes out also. Look away for you weak stomach people, just like that. And then you can see right through there, eyes are out. Now the last thing we're going to do is we're going to put a little nick in the mouth of that fish with a knife. We use that at the end for locating our wax thread when we rig this up nice and tight. So same thing again, you want about 600, 700 millimeters of wax thread. Rigging needle. And we're going to start this exactly the same way here, just back behind the pec fin. You can feel how tough this is already, just brining. And then the next stitch we're going to put in is going to be into the gill plate area, lock it up nice and solid. Okay, that's the first one. And now we're going to go in exactly the same place we went out with that last stitch. Get that nice crisscross pattern there, and then because we've got that stitch sort of halfway into the gill plate area, when we put that knot, the overhand knot down in here, it's going to lock up and keep those gill plates nice and close. We don't want those flapping around. They're just it's another thing that makes it not swim so evenly and tidy. There you go, look at that, all nice and tight, crisscross pattern. It's all locked up on the bottom there. We're now going to put a stitch, or one through that side, the eye socket, another one through that side of the eye socket, and another overhand knot. Tie that up nice and tight there. So what we're going to do is we're going to leave one tag that's going to be hanging there. The other tag we're going to put up through the roof of the fish here on the head, so that's going to go directly up, come out in the middle of the head. Okay, so now we've got a line at the bottom, a line at the top, so we're going to put another overhand knot there, and we're going to tighten that up right into the center. That locates that little slot we put in there earlier on. Pull that up tight. You want to get as tight as you can without crushing or damaging the fish. You want this to be swimming for a long period of time, so you want to make sure everything's nice and tight. So there you go. The nice toe point at the center, all stitched up. It's nice and strong. Gill plate's nice and closed. All the ears out of it. Now the last thing we're going to do here, we're going to use the chugger head again. I want to have a bit of action on this. So the idea for this bait is we are using it as a pitch bait. So we're raising our fish on the teasers, dropping this bait back to where we into the zone, so to speak, pull the teasers out and cross it over with this bait. And it's great. I think the hookup rate is much better on a circle hook. And obviously once you've hooked them on the circle hook, you can, it's very hard for them to spit the hook. So there we go, guys. We've got our piper bait rigged and our yellow eye mullet bait rigged. Next job is we're going to vac bag these up and put them in the freezer, and we pull them out in a few days' time for some marlin fishing. All right, guys, the next step of the process, we're going to vacuum bag up our bait so they're all ready to go next time we go marlin fishing. So we've got our pre-made up vacuum bags here. We've got an awesome vac bag machine, which I'm going to show you a pretty cool function on it in a minute. But let's put them into their groups. So we've got our piper here, pre-rigged with the chugger heads already on. So basically we just pull them out and they are good to go. Nice big long bag, so we're not going to bend them or crush them. The great thing with this vac bag machine is it has like a variable control on it, so you can actually control how much air is sucking. And with some vac bag machine, you actually crush the bait when you suck it. So it's a pretty cool function. So I'm going to turn that right down, the little lever here. We are good to go. Everything's all laid in there nicely, nice and flat. And there we go. We can sort of control that, how much we're sucking out. I want to crush those baits. And there we go. I'm manually sealing it right now. Look at that. All vacked up. Right, let's get the yellow-eyed mullet done. Nothing more satisfying than catching, preparing and rigging your own baits, and they're even more satisfying when you hook up on a marlin on your own baits. There we go. You can control the suck there with that little lever. And there we go, we'll seal her up there. Done. So there you go, guys. That's two of our favourite baits for catching marlin. We've gone through the process of catching, preparing, rigging and processing. We're going to put these in the freezer now. Hopefully we're going to show you guys us catching a marlin on these baits. So adios, thanks for watching. For all the rods, reels, lures and terminal tackle and some great advice, call in and meet your team at your local Hunting and Fishing New Zealand store. And for more inspiring online fishing content, visit journeyofaFisherman.com and subscribe to our YouTube channel.